morning, Titans. Welcome to CSUF News. I'm Rachel Andrews.
And I'm Jasmine Taylor. Campus police have begun warning pedestrians near Cal State Fullerton about potential citations they can receive for improperly crossing the street.
Our reporter Giselle Martinez has more information on this major issue.
For the first time ever, CSUF University Police organized a 2-week campaign called Operation PED to raise awareness of the potentially unsafe conditions of the intersections around CSUF. According to University Police Captain Scott Willey of Administrative Services, the first week of the campaign was dedicated to educating students about pedestrian safety.
We're not under any obligation to warn people about any citations, but because we work so closely with our community, we wanted to make sure that we did that. So we actually spent the whole first week, which was about 4 days, just talking to people, talking to drivers, talking to pedestrians.
The second week was dedicated to patrolling intersections like Nutwood and Commonwealth, where officers would give out warnings and citations for violations. According to Scott Willey, campus police came in contact with about 1,000 people, in addition to citing about 52 pedestrians and a number of drivers over the course of the whole week. UPD's overall goal for Operation PED is safety.
Most of the people that we talked to were very, very supportive. They understood why we were out there. They've seen all the near accidents. They understand that students or faculty or staff, whatever, are running across the street at the last when there's 3 seconds they're trying to run across the street, and that's just very dangerous because cars aren't looking for them.
Prices for citations are around $200. According to Captain Willey, the cost is not set by CSUF police, but rather by the California court system. Still, there are mixed reactions about the cost.
If it's really bad and that individual putting himself at risk, yeah, I would say worth it, because that will stop people from committing that.
It just seems it's a bit excessive to give something like that, especially when a normal jaywalking fine isn't that much.
Officers will continue to bring out Operation PED annually to promote pedestrian and driver safety. Giselle Martinez, CSUF News.
Hopefully our students now understand the risks they run while crossing the street improperly. Thanks, Giselle.
One of the most common complaints on campus is the difficulty to find parking. We now go to Frank Portillo with more information.
With a shortage of parking spaces available on campus, the tightly packed Lot A has seen a large number of hit and runs involving students' vehicles this semester. According to police reports, damage ranges from varying degrees of scratches due to sideswipes to dents. With all lots full, students are directed by parking attendants to park behind cars that are already in spaces. The tight space creates a recipe for disaster. Some students question the safety of this method and its role in the number of reported hit and runs. Joshua Corona is one of these students.
Well, I do feel like it's convenient when you're in a hurry, but just that, when it's busy, I feel like there's cars that can possibly hit it. I feel like that's a really, something to worry about.
Parking lot attendant Alberto Sanchez said that accidents mostly happen away from the assisted lot. He said that the method is safe and that parking attendants would report such incidents to university police if they were to happen. Before students leave their keys with parking attendants, cars are inspected for prior damage. They are given a ticket with a disclaimer for damaged vehicle liability. If blocked-in cars need to leave, attendants move the vehicles. While some feel the practice is risky, others appreciate the convenience.
I use the valet parking usually every time I come, only because I don't want to hassle with trying to find parking on the opposite side. It's a little bit of a walk, but it's fine.
According to university police reports, there have been more than 10 hit and runs in Lot A this semester alone. With only 8,000 available spaces, 18,000 permits were sold in total. It remains to be seen whether or not any more additional spaces will be made available in the future. Students should be wary of parking in Lot A. Frank Portillo, CSF News.
Thanks, Frank, for that information.
On the topic of cars, we now go to Kyle Fulbright, who talked to students about the high gas prices.
Cal State Fullerton commuters have been slowed down by increasingly high gas prices, but the demand for this natural resource is increasing on this commuter-heavy campus.
As you see here, people are paying top dollar for gas, and it does not look like the price will be going down anytime soon.
They're honestly very terrible. I have to pay more to fill up my tank than I did 2 months ago.
This student and many other CSUF students commute to school on a daily basis, and some struggle to pay at the pump.
It's getting a lot harder for me to pay for gas as the prices go up, because I live 20 miles north, so that's like 40 miles a day. So I have to pay for gas usually once a week.
A majority of students that attend Cal State Fullerton commute to school daily, filling up their car with gas frequently.
Well, I know Arco's the cheapest, but also the worst. So usually I just try to fill up at around a Shell or Chevron.
The tax on gas that was implemented in 2017 is what began this drastic rise of gas prices. The purpose of this tax is to fund road repairs in California. Many drivers are not fans of this tax, as it directly affects the boost of gas prices.
It's all right. I can see they're trying to do stuff, but they're definitely not efficient with their time. And I definitely don't think that, like $5 billion that they're trying to take away or something like that each year is actually going to make a difference.
According to the San Diego Union Tribune, the tax on gas is expected to reach 58.3 cents per gallon in taxes and fees alone.
There seems to be a never-ending increase to gas prices in Orange County and California, and drivers continue to be upset about the high price of this necessity. From CSUF News, Kyle Fulbright.
Gas prices affect us all, especially those who commute multiple days a week.
The price of gas is undoubtedly a factor for students considering to attend CSUF.
After a few words from our sponsors, we'll give you a preview of one of the newest Netflix original series about a boy with autism.
I got no pulse, we're losing him.
Charging. He's in VFib.
Shock him.
Drives it around all the time. He just had a few drinks. This can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
You just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right, this isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shock him.
We're back, Titans. Up next, we have the scoop for you on the new Netflix original series, Atypical.
A bit of controversy surrounds the show due to the choice of actor playing the main character.
Atypical stars Sam Gardner, a high schooler on the autism spectrum who wishes to start dating. Let's head over to our reporter Bailey Moss for more on the series.
The second season of the Netflix original series Atypical has just recently been released. The show is about 18-year-old Sam Gardner, a boy on the autistic spectrum who has just recently become interested in dating. The show depicts the unique dynamic of the Gardner family and the ups and downs that come with embracing your differences.
How was your session with your therapist today?
She thinks that I should put myself out there and find someone to have sex with. She didn't say the sex part, I added that. I'm a weirdo, that's what everyone says. Sometimes I don't know what people mean when they say things.
Sam, people on the spectrum date, you know.
Audiences had their reservations about a neurotypical actor portraying someone with autism. Twitter user Lala said, "Coming from an autistic person, that show is not a good representation. Most autistic people will tell you the same. It's very centered on his family's perspective and how his symptoms affect him, and it's also super stereotypical and enforced infantization of auties." Another viewer said, "If you were going to write a series based on the life of autistic people, use autistic actors."
So I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing that it would be someone without autism portraying a character who has autism. I think by nature, the history of acting and professionals is, they take on roles and they represent different people. I do think the main question is, are they accurately portraying individuals with autism? And I think that's probably the larger question.
I think it's important to be just represented by anyone in the media, because mental illness is important to be represented, and it's something that's becoming more common and more represented, that it needs to be heard and more understood and not seen as something that should be shamed.
Although Atypical received a lot of backlash, overall its supporters are happy that autism is being represented in the mainstream media. I'm Bailey Moss, reporting for CSUF News.
I'll definitely consider checking out that show. Thank you, Bailey.
I'll be putting that on my queue as soon as I get home.
To close things off, we head over to our reporter Jared Ebram for a story on a CSUF student who has found great success covering for the Lakers.
Finding a job after graduating can be one of the greatest stressors any college student has. However, for this Cal State Fullerton student, he's been working his dream job for the last 6 years and he graduates in the spring. Harrison Fagan is in his last year of school at Cal State Fullerton. His road to success was not evenly paved. In fact, his original major in college had nothing to do with writing or basketball.
I was going to Irvine Valley College as a community college student first, and I was actually a psych major there.
Fagan's plans changed after a serious back issue and loss of passion for psychology resulted in him briefly dropping out of college. He spent his downtime reading about the NBA, specifically the Lakers.
A lot of my day was, I was either like playing video games, I was sleeping, or I was reading a lot about the NBA. And since I was a Lakers fan at the time, the site that I followed the most closely was Silver Screen and Roll.
After contributing to their site for a few months as a fan, he was hired to their staff. 2 years later, Harrison came to Cal State Fullerton with a changed major and a new goal. He was now writing frequently while attending school, which taught him the rigors of the blogging world.
That was a struggle, especially as you can imagine. I was still going to school here, I was working at the paper, I was doing a daily podcast. It was a lot.
5 years after starting at Silver Screen and Roll, Harrison was offered a job at Lakers Nation. 6 months had passed, and his former employers at Silver Screen and Roll offered him the editor-in-chief position. Originally, he didn't even know if he would accept the job. Now, the 30th of October will be his 6-month anniversary with the site.
I think it's really great that, he literally started as a staff writer or a freelance writer, and he just worked his way up.
While his situation is unique, Fagan believes the dream to make it big is attainable for students who put the work in.
If you're just going to classes, you're not going to be employable anywhere when you leave here. You have to go and get work samples from whether it's the Daily Titan, Titan TV, somewhere, a blog somewhere.
Harrison's story shows us that while the road may not be ideal, dedication and preparation can open any door in the long run. For CSUF News, I'm Jared Uprum. Thank you, Jared. And it looks like that's all we have time for today.
Thank you for spending time with us and tuning into CSUF News. I'm Rachel Andrews.
I'm Jasmine Taylor.
And I'm Alexia Guile. Stay classy, Titans.